to Winter Symphonies. This is a game, I don't remember the studio's name offhand, but it was made by the same team that did Anomie, which is also on this channel. If you saw that, liked it, this might be up your alley. Unfortunately, the devs made the interesting choice of releasing this during the middle of the Steam winter sales, so I'm not going to be surprised in the slightest if it goes under radar just because of that. But despite that, I went ahead and picked it up. We'll go ahead and give it a whirl, see how far it goes, and so on. I don't believe this is too long just because the dev doesn't like to pad the games. It's pretty to the point, and you'll see what I mean, or you can go check out Anomie there. So without further ado, let's hit the start and see what happens. When I was a child, snowball fights were fun. Winters were lonely. The world was brushed over with white, so it felt like everything was undergoing a massive magical change. A great blurring out of emotions and nostalgia, building up into new ones. It was a truly wonderful time. I was taught in school, or was it from Mommy? I can't remember, but I was taught that snowflakes were special. Each one, when scanned closely, has its own pattern. Each one a star. Winter storms were the blasts of stars whirling in the winds, scattering over the buildings, brushing against the leaves. These stars tinted the sights of the humans who walked down winter streets and felt cold. They were surrounded by these beautiful, intricate stars shimmering in the whiteness. Sadly, the cold was too harsh for them to see. Part 1. Winter 2017, present. This is our MC in case you're wondering. No way. Sophie, is that you? At first, I don't recognize him. It doesn't take me long to realize, though. He's a friend from way back. The first question that pops in my head sounds perfectly normal to me. Had he heard about me? The second follows close behind. Which me does he know? My old self or my later one? Does it matter? I am myself, aren't I? No one else. Therefore, I'll be myself. Charles, I barely recognized you. I rise from my seat and we exchange hugs. His breath runs along my neck. I feel jittery. I try wrapping my arms around his shoulders. They're much wider than I remember. You're, not as tiny as you used to be. A charming smile. Yeah, I suppose not. Do you mind if I sit down? I've learned to despise that question. Far too often I get approached by people trying to get from point A to point B. My friend's house or the grocery store, it didn't matter which. They were attracted to me like moths to a flame. By all means. Saying yes and actually meaning it feels like a luxury. A dear old friend I drifted away from, and destiny has made our paths cross once more. He gets his hair out of his eyes, sits down next to me. He looks happy. Sure has gotten quite cold outside, huh? I look at the snowy train station on the other side of the window. It sure has. It sure has. I subconsciously turn my hand into a fist, reacting to his words. Normally I'd have my hat with me. I wear it as often as I can. Not only is it very comfortable, it keeps me from being recognized in public too. I look around, but it doesn't seem like anyone is paying us any attention. The train's announcer voice reverberates throughout the carriages. It's leaving the platform. So, what have you been doing all these years? A little bit of everything. He looks at me with an ambivalent glint in his eyes. Was it a bad question? Is the answer complicated? I don't know how to react. I focus on my cold, closed hand in my lap as I await his full reply. Don't feel bad. You're not prying. I just don't really know where to start. I've been here and there. I feared that might not be a good enough answer for you. Besides, isn't the destination more interesting? The simple answer is that I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I search for it daily, but it keeps evading me. He smiles gently at me. He's very much the Charles I used to know. Ambivalent answers and an optimistic, relaxed view on life. But I'm happy I ran into you. Yours is a face I never thought I'd see again. Did you know that? A pleasant surprise, if you will. Oh, so he doesn't know. A pleasant surprise? Indeed. I can't help smiling. Maybe he'll treat me like he used to. Like a normal human being. Like any other girl. With the same respect as back then. What a relief that'd be. The train eases into place. It stops at the station following the one Charles boarded at. I can hear bells in the distance. Christmas is approaching. Outside the windows, snow pours from the skies. The ground is covered in white matter, which crunches soundly under people's boots as they step onto the train. Then it departs once more. Sorry, am I boring you? My chest tightens. I stammer. Oh, no. Not at all. Sorry. I'd like to blame my languidness on the fact that I'm used to overthinking everything, though I wonder if I've actually always been this way. As spaced out as ever, I see. I can't help smiling once again. It appears so. I stare out of the window for a brief moment, admiring the white scenery. I sigh in comfort. You said you're going somewhere, didn't you? Where would that be? Who knows? Time will tell, won't it? For now, I'm enrolling in the local university. University? I've always wanted to attend university. I had this idea of it being a haven full of motivated people. They'd all be brimming with energy. I never got around to finding out. At this point, I feel like it might be a bit late. It's never too late. My eyes open slightly, in shock from the disturbing accuracy of his words. I was just thinking that it might be a bit late for me. You're wrong. Plenty of people are just getting started, even at your age. You know, I always saw you as the type to one day get a fancy diploma. Me? I blush. I'm sure of it. I don't know about that. Oh, come on. You were always the smart one. Don't tell me you couldn't feel everyone's eyes on you. Those stares were full of admiration and curiosity, you know. He says so jokingly, but I can tell he means it. Well, yes, but weren't all older students treated the same? Charles chuckles. No, Sophie, you stood out. It seems you may not have known it at the time, but you certainly did stand out. I feel flattered. My cheeks feel far too warm for midwinter. If you say so. We all looked up to you. I'm not sure how you've managed to forget. Charles pauses before continuing. Give yourself some more credit, won't you? With a big grin on his face, he chuckles once more. As if that wasn't enough, I can also tell you this. At least every other guy had a crush on you. I tense up. Both my lips and my back go completely stiff. Despite my past, or perhaps because of it, I don't think I'll ever get used to people getting personal with me. It won't ever feel natural to me. Maybe he's right. Perhaps I don't feel worthy of praise. Anyway, he moves on to the next subject by interrupting him. Did you? Did I what? Have a crush on me? He sighs uncomfortably. Now I'm the one putting him on the spot. Perhaps I did, perhaps I didn't. It's in the past, so it doesn't really matter, does it? That's a yes, then. Charles raises his eyebrows at me. He remains silent, judging me. A change of subject. This time I let it go because I feel like my question has been answered. Do you live nearby? I do. I moved back not too long ago. So you too were on an adventure. An adventure? Yes, you sure could call it that. Now I'm back. A return to one's roots, huh? Not that there's anything interesting about this town, no matter how you look at it. Well, I wouldn't go that far. It is home, nothing more, nothing less. The town I grew up in, the town I was schooled in, and the town I once left. A small to medium-sized city with a great number of calm residential areas. Large enough for outsiders to get lost in, but at the same time not overly populated. In other words, a great fit for someone like me to return to. Home, huh? Yes, I guess so. Speaking of which, I hope you don't mind me being direct, but how much is the rent around here? I giggle. Just enough to make me question my sanity. That's when I'm reminded of something. I don't rent anymore. I used to. My family used to as well, but I don't. Not anymore. My reaction had simply slipped out of me as if it was the most natural thing. That bad, huh? Money is no issue for me, but he doesn't know that. And apparently, I don't seem to have come to terms with it either. Just loud enough for him to hear. I whisper the amount my family's monthly rent used to be. His hand moves to his forehead. Well, a relative was kind enough to offer me a room for my 3 years of university, but we've yet to agree on an appropriate rent. That's where I'm heading right now. I figured I might as well ask. I see. I hope you're both happy with the final amount. I wonder. Moments pass. I cock my head to the side, looking at Charles. Years really have passed, huh? That instant, conjured from the depths of my mind, the face of a child flashes before my eyes. Approaching the next destination, passengers, please watch your step as you leave the train. Oh, this is me. Charles quickly gets up. He shoots me a challenging look. See you around, Sophie. Before I get to respond, he has left the train. He passes my window. I put my hand against the window, watching him walk off. His face wears a smirk. As they hit the snow-covered pavement, my heels make satisfying noises. Nowadays, the snow is everywhere. It makes you appreciate snow-free areas so much more. I am still cold. I pull my scarf up. It barely covers my chin. I like being enshrouded by winter clothing. It makes me feel safe. Though I like feeling enshrouded in general, probably due to the anonymity, at least in public. 2 minutes off, then I'm home. Winter. A season of celebration. Cozy time spent with loved ones. Or if you're like me, spent alone, in absolute misery. Ideally, I drop by the grocery store. After today, though, I just want to return home as soon as possible. But Sophie, you're out of food. You're going to end up paying for your laziness. When you finally sit down and relax, the one sensation you'll feel is hunger. Is that really what you want? No. But today, I'll accept the consequences of my actions. Besides, someone told me intermittent fasting is a good way to lose weight. I stop myself. Though it's about time I break free from this way of thinking, isn't it? I stand at the door of my house, digging through my pockets for the key. I slowly look around me. Left, right, I'm all alone. I manage to take a steady grip of the key, hidden within the deep spaces of my coat. Before opening the door, I briefly run my fingers across the ancient wood and the patterns inscribed in it. Home. I turn the key around and step inside. After closing the door behind me, I open my coat in one motion and hang it on the coat rack. I have a few, but I really only use this one. I turn around and look at myself in the mirror. I really have changed since back then. If I squint just a bit and use my imagination, in the mirror I can see the face of a younger version of myself. See you later, Sophie. I smile. It was nice to see you again, Charles. But I never got to tell you that. Our town is far from small. I wonder if he really thinks we'll meet again. The charm of our town lies in the anonymity of its inhabitants, despite it being centered around public transport. But maybe that's exactly what makes you one out of a sea and a people. Makes you one out in a sea of people. Even someone like me can walk around, mind their own business, and remain undisturbed. Most of the time, that is. Sadly, when I want to be approached the least, it often ends up happening. Today seemed like it would be one of those days. For once, though, it was a welcome encounter. My train of thought is interrupted as I notice something peculiar around my feet. A draft across my ankles, just above my socks. I sigh to myself and walk into the living room. I suspected as much. I walk up to my half-open balcony door and close it shut. I really do forget things often, don't I? I look around my house. Like taking out the trash. Like picking up my laundry from the floor. Like putting the dishes in place. Nervously, I briefly run my fingers through my hair. I sigh. The view of my house in a shamble is depressing, as is the prospect of not having food in the cupboards. Maybe I'll stock them up properly tomorrow. My stomach growls. And soon, maybe, just maybe, I'll be forced to keep this place clean. I'm going to bed. If I had seen myself in this moment a few years ago, I likely would have laughed and cried due to the absurdity of the situation. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. I can't help but chuckle. Good night. Cold air wakes me up. It seeps in from the drafty windows. My eyes open. I'm met by the familiar ceiling in my bedroom. Is it morning yet? I notice light around the edges of my blackout curtain, but I choose to defy it. How about no? I pull my legs up towards my body, so that my knees almost meet my chest. My eyes gradually close once more. I groan quietly. I pull my laptop up from the side of the bed. There's a new message in my inbox. Dear Julia, your proposal is very appealing. I can meet the desired price point and would like for it to happen as soon as possible. When are you available for a brief meeting? I would like for us to get to know each other and seal the deal in person. It's happening sooner rather than later. I type back a quick reply. That's great. Let's meet tomorrow evening at a nearby restaurant called Dante's. I close my laptop. Then I fall asleep again. Next time I wake up, I'm brimming with energy. My body feels recovered. Extending the duration of my sleep has two possible outcomes. 1. I get way more tired than I originally was. 2. I get twice as energetic. It's a gamble, but I'm fine with that. Today seems like my lucky day. I move my blinds down, peek through my window. Noon. A blinding scene, but a familiar one nonetheless. The street I live on. It's covered by an even blanket of fine snow, untouched but for a few footsteps, marking the presence of my neighbors. Onto the canvas that is the street, I'm about to add footsteps of my own. I get ready for a day outside. I can't seem to find my hat, though I really must have lost it recently. Snow-white scenery, the pinnacle of winter. I thrive in the ambience of the season. Cold air seeps through my not-so-windproof coat. It penetrates layer by layer, chilling my body. At least it looks good. I feel anonymous as I walk down the main street, alongside a wave of other people. Within the crowd, I feel at ease. No one acknowledges anyone. We all move swiftly towards our destination. Static noise, the kind that's always there but not paid mind to. That's what we are to each other. It's what our ears perceive as we walk down this bustling street. Small magpies inhabit the trees that are lined up along the street. They signal to their peers about to our presence. Their intelligent chirps are sharp to my ears. I head towards my favorite cafe, the Steam Room. I'd like to think they named it that way because of being the perfect place to let off steam. Or is it perhaps because of the steaming drinks they serve? After a few minutes of walking down the main street, I arrive there. As I enter the door, bells ring. Behind the counter, I'm greeted by a familiar face. She smiles at me while subtly nodding towards a table in the back. It's the table where I always sit. Somehow it's never occupied, as if the hostess intentionally keeps it that way. I sit down. I feel a light touch on my shoulder. I look up. It's been far too long. Yes, I've managed to neglect this place too. This woman is not someone I'd call a friend, but she's always been welcoming to me. On some level, I believe she understands the unwritten rules of my life. Tell me, do you always keep this table unoccupied? The glint in her eyes says yes. The first time I visited this cafe, someone recognized me. It was by no means a difficult situation. However, I think she sensed my hesitance to make friends. She helped me get out of the conversation with the ecstatic man, then returned to work without a word. For the duration of my visit, she never asked my name. Ever since that day, she's been extraordinarily hospitable to me. Honestly, I don't know if she recognizes me specifically, or if just the trouble my past life brings. Either way, her kindness has not gone unnoticed. It makes one wonder why I don't visit more often. Not even I can answer that. Perhaps I'm scared of bonds. After all, we were discouraged from having them. The usual? Yes, please. She returns with an ornate tray bearing a thin slice of pistachio cake. It's been garnished with freshly chopped nuts and an apple helping of vanilla mousse. In wonder, I stare at it. She always brings me the same gorgeous dessert. The consistency which she constructs the cake's layer astonishes me every time. I'll return with your espresso shortly, dear. People come and go all day long, yet the hostess and her daughter never fail to see their customers off with a smile. From my seat at this table of my own, I can observe without being observed. It's liberating. No one has any business around my table. For as long as I like, this leaves me undisturbed. I can enjoy a calm moment, pulling myself together before venturing out of this place. After a short day of strolling through the more quiet parts of town, the sky has turned dark. The buildings surrounding me are bathed in shadows. The lights within them appear more vibrant. Nighttime lurks around the corner. As I walk down the same street I came by, the cool walls of air brush against me. A reminder of winter. When the sun sets, it's as if the heat that radiated onto us during the day instantly ceases to exist, as if it's simply vanished. The bustling crowds that walk the street during the daytime seem to have moved into alleyways, now seated at gastropubs. The main street's lack of noise makes me feel lonely. I don't want to be here any longer. I head home with one stop along the way, an anonymous grocery store close to home. To pass time, I tend to walk around a great deal these days, but I avoid the more populated areas the best I can. Bye. I exit the store now with a bag of staple food in my left hand. It's fairly heavy, but that doesn't matter. Shortly after, I'm at my doorstep. I need a break. I step inside, lie on my couch, and watch my grocery bag spill its contents over the kitchen counter. Onions now cover my floor. I sigh, but I don't move a muscle. I don't want to. I close my eyes. Who am I? What do I do? What are my hobbies? I ask myself these questions. Silence. No answers this time either. Too bad. An amnesiac I am not. I'm having a hard time adapting to the stillness of my new life, however. It's funny how I, and we, used to complain that there weren't enough hours in the day, and now there are too many, and I don't know how to get rid of them all. I no longer have a clear purpose. I no longer have the other lost souls around me. No one expects anything from me, and I expect nothing from anyone. I'm awfully boring nowadays, aren't I? If I can see as much, I don't even want to think about how others would perceive me if they went through the trouble of getting to know me. My phone vibrates. A text. Julia. Weren't we supposed to meet? I've been waiting at the agreed location for a quarter of an hour now. Shit. Apparently I can't even be trusted to make the most simple of appointments on time. I always had someone do it for me. All I had to do was go when I was wanted. I hastily get up from the couch and jog over to the hallway. I look back at the living room. The balcony doors definitely closed. My bag of groceries still lies sideways on my kitchen counter, contents spilled. Well, it'll have to wait. I grab my coat and head out into the cold. As I make my way down the porch steps, I almost tumble forward. I stand still, catching my breath. My feet are touching the ground, I'm sure of that. Okay, maybe I'm not in that big a hurry. For the third time today, I walk on the road outside my window. I enter an alley near the restaurant in question. In that moment, someone calls out. Hey, miss. Excuse me, miss. I freeze up. Footsteps approach from behind. I don't want to turn around. I wouldn't consider myself religious by any means, but I pray the voice isn't calling for me. Naturally, I'm not that lucky. Am I ever that lucky? He's in front of me. His composure reeks of confidence. He's dressed sharply, matching the energy he radiates to a T. My apologies for shouting at you like that. I'm Jones. The man presents his hand to me. I look down. Nothing more, nothing less. It's in my best interest to not get familiar with strangers. Strangers are rarely unfamiliar with me, despite being unfamiliar to me. He raises his eyebrows at me and gives me a charming smile. I work at a modeling agency. I start to walk towards the restaurant, having declined his offer. He hasn't made it yet, because I'm not letting him. No thanks. Wait, you really stand out. You'd be a great fit for one of my clients. They pay incredibly well. I stand out, huh? That's exactly what I don't want to hear. I keep walking. A resentful snort. Why are you pretty girls always such fucking bitches? Chills go down my spine. I walk faster. I finally arrive at the restaurant. I turn around. He's nowhere to be seen, thank God. You must be Julia? I turn around once again, this time towards the voice. It's right inside the restaurant. A soft smile with raised eyebrows signaling confusion. Inside the door stands. Yesterday evening, somewhere in this town of ours. A snow-laden house large enough to accommodate an entire family or two. On its porch, 3 individuals stand. A middle-aged couple opposing a young man. Their faces are stern. Shadows are cast from their bodies onto the wooden boards. The walls are dimly lit. Daylight is no longer. This adds to the dark ambience of the scene. Get lost. Just get lost. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're a leech. But now I believe it and I don't want you here anymore. So, Uncle, how come you remarried this wretched hag? How dare you? I've been nothing about honest about my situation. I think that's supposed to be nothing but honest. As you can see, she's showing me no compassion. Are you really just going to stand there and watch her do this? You invited me to stay here in the first place. This would be the perfect opportunity to take some responsibility, don't you think? The men look at each other. One of them promptly looks away, mumbling. I expected more from you, but it seems you might have gotten what you deserve, which is plenty. The younger man giggles. I don't even have it in me to be angry at you. Spending your life with someone like that is enough of a punishment. Well then, Uncle, I'm off. If he was still around, my father would be ashamed to see you right now. With those words, the younger man turns around, leaving the couple's porch while gripping his luggage tightly. The moment he steps onto the street, the door behind him slams shut. Where do I go now, I wonder? Outside the cozy restaurant, we gaze at each other. See, I told you, certain things are fated. No matter how unlikely paths are to cross, they will, if they're meant to. I smile, observing my old friend. We exchange pleasantries once again. He soon gets to the point. So, Julia, dare you take me on as your roommate? Do I? I wasn't aware there were choices you made here. Well, I can't let you wander these cold streets alone, can I? Banter. I was attempting banter. You're always so serious. Sorry, it's just who I am, I guess. Tell me, why, Julia? I like my privacy. Charles looks at me questioningly. It's a long story. Stick around and you'll understand. Sticking around? Well, it's not like I have any other options. You're totally being my savior right now, don't you see? He grins at me. Whatever. As sighs, he continues to sing my praises for the next several minutes. I might regret this. At the same time, I'm really glad it's him. New bonds are difficult to establish. Rekindling an old one is a huge weight off of my shoulders. Was I always this asocial? No, most definitely not. I guess it's something that happens when forced to adapt to loneliness. Sun transitions on this level always leave the human in a state of anomie. It's not just me, I hope. I start walking off. Wait, where are you going? I turn around to look at him again. Home, because we're done here. Charles merely stares at me, a confused frown expressing his ambivalence. You coming, roomie? His expression lights up. Side by side, amongst a sea of fragile snowflakes, we walk below ice-cold moonlight. Eat whatever you want to eat. Drink whatever you want to drink. I lean against the wall as I observe Charles looking around the house in wonder. Well, in that case... From the top of one of the cupboards, he grabs one of the fanciest bottles of liquor and grins at me. I shrug lightly. You're always so indifferent. He looks at me critically and puts the bottle back in its place. I mean, I did say you could have anything. I meant it, you know. I say what I mean. I look at Charles as I go on. Aren't you the same way? He runs his fingers through his hair, pondering the meaning of my words. I suppose so, but jokes are jokes. And what's not? Even though he didn't reply to my question, his stare said, "You'll know." Charles breaks eye contact and moves over to my couch. He hasn't commented on the mess. I didn't mean to bring anyone over so promptly. After hearing the story, there was a sense of urgency. I couldn't ignore that. Maybe he's just being polite. I moved to my toppled shopping bag. I cleaned up my floor, onion after onion. Sophie? No doubt about it. His voice sounded familiar. It carries sorrow. The moment my name was uttered, my heart was affected by something unknown. I turned around. Then, without a word, I stood beside him. He sits hunched over, and there's something about his expression that's tugging at my heartstrings. I want to ask him what's wrong. The words seem stuck in my throat. I think I already know the answer after all. Instead, I gently put my hand on his back. Ever felt truly powerless, Sophie? The kind where everything you thought was right was wrong, and you don't have the slightest clue as to how to get over it? He is such an asshole. They are such assholes. There was so much I wanted to say, but I know it wouldn't have mattered. They wouldn't have listened. He wouldn't have listened. He's a lost man, I'm sure of it. And lost people, they need someone to show them the way. It's too bad it had to be her. Charles sniffles and lets a moment of silence pass, as if pondering something. I don't remember him being this way, though. Spineless and cowardly. Well, he's had it rough, I suppose. At some point, he chose that life. There's nothing I can do about it now, is there? Without thinking about it, I've started stroking his back like I would a pet. I know what it is that I recognize in his expression, and it's something that hits very close to home. Are you lost? From within suppressed stops, he produces a chuckle. I am. I feel embarrassed for breaking down like this, for burdening you with my troubles. He gives me a serious look. In return, I give him a gentle smile. Don't you worry about it. We all have vulnerable moments. During those, something irrational tends to happen. We want company, compassion, and allies. Not only that, we want to be alone. We want to be martyrs. We want to overcome our struggles by ourselves, without anyone's assistance. It's illogical, counterproductive, and hypocritical. I whisper. It's called being human. We're silly like that. So don't you worry. Right now, I'll be whoever you want me to be. Tell me, who are you now? Once again, I smile at him. If only I knew myself. I'm Sophie. I put one hand behind his head and nudge him to lie down with the other. He complies. I don't have a younger brother. Thinking back, I always treated him like one, though. Some resembling maternal instinct guides me. He is hesitant at first, but I place his head on my right thigh. I let him unburden his sorrows as I stroke his head. The age difference is certainly there. Right now it feels more present than ever. Age-wise, we've been adults for quite a few years. Still, I get the feeling that the roles of our childhood have carried over to the present. Some things don't seem to change quickly. Past, present, childhood, adulthood. Disconnect, because our adolescences were spent in two entirely different worlds. Mine turbulent, his peaceful. We remain this way until tears have fully dried up. It all falls upon us. He rests his hands across his face as he sits up, then he looks away. Well, sorry about that. Honestly, this really is a bit embarrassing. No need to apologize. You're the only one here that I really know anymore. You'd be surprised, Charles, but for some reason I don't want to tell you. Perhaps I'm afraid of admitting it. Like if I said it out loud, it'd become more real. It didn't happen by chance, though. I returned because I wanted to be left alone. You might not understand. It's a long story, so I'm going to hold on to it. Tonight it's about you, mending you, dealing with your burdens. isn't it? Yeah, for now. I pout, jokingly of course, but I don't need to spell that out for him. Thanks. You're welcome. He looks around the room. You can sleep here until we get something figured out. Sure. I get up and move to the living room window. I peer through. Snow, colored like the whitest porcelain, falls from the skies. It floats easily downwards, passing through the brightness of the streetlights. Briefly it glows warm orange. Above us all, the moon's peaceful presence illuminates the fallen snow on the ground. Late in the night, it gets life to shine on. For a split second, I think to myself how dreamy, how peaceful, and how extraordinarily beautiful simple things are. I shut the blinds gradually. Winter scenery fades out. On my couch lies Charles. His feet hang off the end of the couch, and he uses his arms as a pillow as he stares at the ceiling. His expression is full of concentration. Has he caught sight of anything? Whatever he sees, it's lost to my eyes. I'm getting sleepy. His gaze is promptly directed towards me. Oh. Well, me too. Good night. I start walking towards my bedroom. Night. See you tomorrow. And the day after, and the day after that. Unless you run off, in which case I can't blame you. I say so with a smile, but he looks at me with serious eyes. Run off? I have nowhere to run off to. Like I've been telling you for the past 2 hours. No, I was just joking, for once. No, you're my savior, Sophie. So give yourself some more credit. There's that phrasing again. About giving myself more credit. Also, he looks around the room once again and chuckles. I'm sorry, I have to ask. How in the world did you afford this place? My cheeks feel warm. I look away. That's a long story. I'll tell you some other time. You sure have a lot of long stories. Well, truth be told, it's all the same one. Sleep well. He looks at me, seemingly unable to decide whether to pry further or return my wishes. You too.